This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, 1975, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting on the bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers a list of dates annually indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday, July 10th, 2012. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Councilman Rajiv Prasad.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us take a few moments of silence to each seek in our own way whatever sources of inspiration will grant us the strength and power in our thoughts and decisions to be for the benefit of all people at all times. Amen.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll of the council.
Councilman Chase.
Here.
Councilwoman Francois. Deputy Mayor Kramer.
Here.
Mayor Levine.
Here.
Councilman Prasad.
Here.
Councilman Regan. Councilwoman Sherman.
Here.
Councilman Vasanella.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Here.
Okay, thank you very much. We are following along on our agenda. They're over here by our clerk. Feel free to come and take them along with associated ordinances and resolutions and follow along at the meeting. And usually if you look on our website, the weekend before, you can find our agenda and all associated items with it. At this time, we're at item number 5, executive session. And usually our executive sessions are held at the end of the meeting. But because of the nature of this one, dealing with personnel and an interim township manager, we're going to do that at this time. So we're going to take a break. And executive session is when the council meets in private, and usually there's only a few occasions, such as litigation, personnel, and such as that. So I don't suspect this will take too long. However, when I've suspected those things in the past, I've been mistaken. So it's an emotion. In a moment, I'm going to ask for the motion, and we're going to go into executive session. We'll just be in the room there. You can stay here, and then we'll be back shortly. So is there a motion to adopt the resolution calling for the executive session for the items listed on the resolution as follows? Personnel, interim township manager.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please poll the council on the resolution for executive session, please.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Mayor Levine.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Okay, motion is carried. We're going to go into executive session. We'll be there. Hopefully, we'll be back very shortly. Please pardon us. Okay, we have come back from our executive session. Is there a motion to come out of executive session for the item of personnel interim township manager?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Thank you for your indulgence. My estimate of the short time frame was obviously wrong. Don't listen to me as far as those things go anymore. When we did discuss township manager, our township manager, Craig Novick, Chief Novick, accepted a nice position in a town, and he's going to tell us where we're going as far as town leadership goes. Chief Novick?
Thank you, Mayor. It was my honor and privilege to be part of the discussion a few minutes ago with Council. It is important that the residents of Franklin Township know that I saw firsthand that this council cares deeply deeply about the operations of government, about succession planning, about moving forward, about service to the residents, and after some heartened conversation and strategic planning, we have come up with the succession of, as of right now, the Assistant Township Manager. Ms. Donna Viero will be filling in my shoes and taking charge of the town as acting manager, while the Township Council continues their diligent search for a permanent Township Manager. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Francois, did you have something?
Yes, I want the manager, this is a surprise for him. On behalf of the council, we want to present him with the plaque. So, Mr. Mayor, can you come down, please? And is this on?
Yeah.
This will also be an opportunity. We are very long-winded as a council governing body, but this is an opportunity for every one of us to say something on behalf of our manager. There is not one of us that is happy about the fact that he's leaving us. As you all know, Craig started off in 1982 in the police department, and then from December 1982 to June 2001, he was in the police department. He looks pretty young. He doesn't look that old. And then he became chief of police July 2001 to May 2011. And he was our township manager from June 2011 to August 2012. And so the plaque is in recognition and sincere appreciation of your dedicated service to the Township of Franklin, presented with deep appreciation by the mayor and township council, staff, and residents. And I just have to say personally, I know when I was mayor, he was promoted lieutenant, and since then was promoted chief. He's given us 30 years of his life, and I know personally I will miss him. And I'm not going to cry, but he's someone who's very dear to my heart. Franklin would not be Franklin Township if we did not have Craig Novick here. He has done a lot in terms of bringing diversity into the police department, the respect for diversity within the township. He's very well revered amongst the residents and the staff, amongst our governing body. Wonderful professional individual. He's going to be very, very missed, truly missed. And I believe you'll come back and visit us. There's no way you can give 30 years of your life professionally to a town and not miss us. So you'll be back. We know you'll be back, but we're real sorry to see you go. And thank you so much for your dedication and your service to the township. Frankly, would not be what it is today without you being here and being a part of us. And we'll miss you. And I got to give you a hug.
Councilwoman Francois said it very eloquently. So I'll just say, Chief, I'm happy for you in your new position, but selfishly, I'm sad for me and all of us. But I guess we'll learn to live and bug you once in a while. So I was deeply honored and on a personal level, really pleased to have the chief, obviously, as our chief. And as our manager, I learned some lessons in leadership and ways to treat people and how to work with all kinds of individuals from you. So I appreciate the personal lesson very much also. And you'll, till my thoughts and mine start slipping more than it is now, you'll always be in there with a warm place.
Mayor Levine, Councilman Francois, Deputy Mayor Kramer, Council, citizens of Franklin Township, Chief Roberts, Donna Viero, Bob Warnlocker, Mark Rossman, Krista, And I can't go through the whole 70,000 people, but I came here as a 19-year-old. I was pretty much right out of high school. I came as a young patrolman and learned to love Franklin Township. It was the most exciting place when you're 19 and you drive around and you get to meet a whole host of new people, and the things that I loved about Franklin, I love to this moment, and it's rich in diversity, and so many wonderful things go on in this town so many times, and I got to grow up here, and through the years got to do different roles in the town, different responsibilities, got to meet some wonderful government leaders. Obviously, Councilwoman Francois, I know the most. I grew up really under her leadership. She was the mayor as I moved up in rank, and we had a lot of heart-to-hearts, and she told me what her vision was of Franklin Township 10, 15 years ago, and I'm proud to see that her vision is what Franklin Township has become now, and I can only say that because I've known her for so long. But now we have a new council and new leadership, and the town keeps going and the vision continues. And as I said earlier, you have a wonderful township council, and I got a front row seat to how much they care, how much work goes into daily operations, how the quality of life for Franklin Township is so important. And I'm leaving, but I'm not leaving because I've been here for a long time, but I'm telling all our residents, this is a great place. You have great staff, a great police department, great government, and you have a great township council, and God bless, and thank you for everything.
So as soon as I finish, because it says Chase will reach out to the KBs to ascertain. What do you want me to say that?
Well, I will reach out.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Now we're again following along on our agenda, which are by our clerk, along with some associated resolutions and ordinances. You can usually find them the weekend before on our website. Pull up the resolutions, ordinances, the agenda, follow along with what we're doing. So we are now at item number 6, commendations and proclamations, which that sort of was. There was an item on there regarding John Luce, our open space consultant. We can't do that for today. So we come to item number 7, the mayor's report. And the today's mug of the meeting, I promise IT I won't spill water on the computer there, is from London, is there, which will be the scene in the coming months of the 2012 Olympics, which we can certainly cheer on our American team, but more importantly, to me, it gives us a look. We always relate it often to our youth. They can see people who have set goals and worked hard to attain them, and also if it just spurs some of us to be a little bit more physical and watch ourselves, then that's very worthwhile too. The multi-billion-dollar boost to our economy hopefully helps too with a few jobs and such as that. So we're going to be going along at our meeting today, and in a few moments we're going to get to public discussion, and that's going to be the only time to speak of anything of a general nature. After that, there will be times to speak on a couple specific ordinances and resolutions, but I'll make it clear that's time to speak of anything of a general nature. Had a few good things going on in the past. The biggest one was, as I would think, that's known to the public, was our fireworks. It's usually held, or has been, the Friday before, the 4th of July. So the last Friday in June was our fireworks here at the Municipal Complex. Once more, a great display. All the funds raised from personal sources and not from donations. No town money went into that. We again thank many of our personnel, especially police, for giving of their time and money at no charge to the town. was a great display. It's going to get started again. My compliments to Mr. Bill Grippo, who chaired, well, he was in charge, and technically, Councilman Prasad, Councilman Wright were the chair, and they did a good job of keeping that together, too. So, gentlemen, thanks a lot for that. Pardon me if I say this wrong. Over the weekend, we had Guru Purnima, okay, at the Ukrainian Center, a great event. Councilman Prasad was there, along with myself, Assemblyman Shivakula, and that was near the same time as great giant event, the Jane Center, which has been building for about 10 years on Cedar Grove, is there and going. And many of us, you'll hear that in the council comments, were there at their opening a couple Sundays ago. Town staff did a great job of getting them up and going when they needed their permits and such as that, and they had many, many events through time. We're glad to have them as another neighbor of ours. The thing which comes on all of us, which we've noticed, is the extreme heat. If someone is without air conditioning or has problems, you can always come visit our library and places such as that are air conditioning. We're glad to accommodate you. Southern part of town, we now have our branch open in Franklin Park at the corner of, in the market, at South Middlebush and 27, Steinmart and other things are there. That's where our new Franklin Park branch is. Come visit that at any time also. And in the next month or so, you can see Comcast Newsmakers. I've done a little interview there speaking about things in town and things we're doing. If you happen to catch it, that's there. Send me your critique. Glad to hear it. And that concludes the mayor's report. So we go to item number 8, deputy mayor's report. So Deputy Mayor Phil Kramer.
Thank you. So one thing you may notice up here is most of us have these, all you see is a black line there. These are iPads. We have our agendas on the iPads. Saves paper, makes things more efficient a lot in the background. And I would like to thank our IT staff, all of whom are here. One, for getting this up and running, and two, for, you may see them on camera running up here as we have questions, and they've been very generous with their time to come here in case we have 5 council members at once saying, how do I do this or how do I find that? But hopefully we'll get used to this, and I think it's going to be a major plus. The mayor mentioned the Jane Center. There are several events. I was able to go to 2 of them. I very much welcome them into town. Jay Janenda to all of them. I think it's going to be an asset, and it's a culture that we can all learn from and benefit from. The 4th of July, I would like to thank the donators, Mr. Grippo, the police who donated money and time, the fire department, fire prevention who donated their time, and the firefighters who are volunteers, but they also came and gave of their time to be there. I thanked all of those people at the event, but there was another group that I neglected to thank, and I apologize for that, and that's our Department of Public Works, who was there days and hours before, making the place look right, and then when we all cleared out and went home and continued our celebrations, they were there picking up the trash that day and the next day. So talk about unsung heroes. They certainly deserve a bit of thanks. And then I'll take this time to speak about our departing manager. I do remember when I was on Tough and I wanted to interview the chief of police, he handed me off to then Lieutenant Vornlacher and Sergeant Rizzo, but when it came time to pick him as manager, I voted for him anyway. But in all seriousness, he was literally always there. I have a habit of waking up at 3 in the morning or 5 in the morning or whatever, and with an idea, and I send it off to him and then I would get up at 7 and there's an answer. And a text message on the weekend so that I get it off my plate, I have a thought, and then I put it on his plate, and it was always responded to. So as far as from the working end, he was terrific. He turned many things around in this town, has helped this staff find itself in many good ways, and help them improve themselves. And that's the professional end of it. The personal end of it is he was is, and always will be a true friend to me. Someone whose counsel I took seriously, and whose company I enjoyed. And I wish him well, and I wish he wasn't leaving. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now we come to item number 9, public discussion. And this is going to be the only time to speak of things of a general nature. There'll be times in a little bit to speak on specific resolutions and ordinances, but this will be the only time for the item of a general nature. And as is our policy, each person can have 5 minutes to speak. We have a timer, so when you hear a tone, that means 3 minutes has elapsed. When there's multiple tones, that means your 5 minutes is ended. I'll have to ask you to wrap up your thoughts. We, as per our policy, we don't yield time, and everyone comes up once per meeting, and we're certainly glad to hear what is ever on your mind. Is there a motion to open the meeting for public discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Meeting is open for public discussion on any item of interest. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand. When I recognize you, come to the podium. Give us your name and address. Mr. Sanders.
Now, a second, the technician's gonna come and help take you on through it, okay?
And then, then you can go after him.
Now, this gives me a
Thank you.
That's why judges,
Percy Sanders, Evergreen Road in Somerset.
that's why judges.
I'm just here to say it's that time of year again. Week of the People's right around the corner. I want to thank you for your past support as council members and being at the event and supporting it. This year's been a real tough time as far as getting things going and financing it and what have you. I'm here to ask you if we could waive fees like you have done in the past. We're bringing back the Taste of Franklin, and there's some fees that are involved that we really need your help for, as far as waiving like you did in the past. With the health department, as far as permits and things like that. I'm not quite sure how we did it the last time, but you were a big help. That's all I know. This year, the Week of the People, as you know, is August 4th to the 11th. I do have a few flyers here. If I can have this gentleman pass them to you. We're in the process of promoting. It's from August 4th to the 11th, and the basketball tournament is kicking it off. As you know, August 11th is the where the Hamilton Street Business District is going to be helping sponsoring it over at the Township or at the John's Plaza. And I'm going to be asking some of the council members and mayor to participate in speaking in our presentations. It's not a political field. It's just being that you're involved with the Township, Franklin. I would like for our Fourth Ward councilman to do the welcome, and then one of the other council and mayor. Okay, that's all I have to say. So I look forward to your support as always. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead, you want to speak too?
Yes. My name is LeVar Pompey. I live at 307 Commons Way. Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Good
I am also a member of the Week of the People Committee. Just like to say that we are very appreciative of your support with the events in the past. We hope that you continue to support us with the upcoming event in August. This event is highly anticipated by the youth of Franklin Township as well as the adult citizens, and we just hope that you'll continue to support in this upcoming event in August, Week of the People. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else who wishes to speak? Anything?
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one else coming up from the public, I request that the public discussion be closed.
Second the motion.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Okay, we come now to item number 10 on the agenda. That's our standing committee reports. The first one is 10A, administration. Does an administration committee member want to do that one?
We are having a meeting this Thursday, so I think we'll have more to say at the next meeting.
Okay, good. All right, so next is 10B, Financial Oversight Committee. Anyone, Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Yes, thank you. So we discussed the dispatch staffing, and fortunately, the Chief of Police is here to correct me if my notes aren't completely accurate. The recommendation of the Financial Oversight Committee was to hire 2 dispatchers. The idea would be that hiring dispatchers will cost us less, and I'm not going to run the numbers here, but it will cost us less than it does now, because currently when there is overtime, that's often police officers who have to be of a certain experience level in order to do that fill in. And their overtime costs more than it costs to have the dispatcher working. The yearly savings would be approximately $50,000. However, that would not be realized in the first 6 months because we'd be bringing people on and training them, and they wouldn't be able to fill in yet. So it would be a little bit of dead time of salary-wise, we would be paying people, but they wouldn't be filling in. And I don't know if since we have a hiring freeze, do we need to actually take an action here to do that? Do we need to, or is it just?
I thought we passed it.
We're asking our attorney a moment. Is that just unofficial? Can we just?
No, I think it's unofficial. I think council has had this discussion and has.
No, we passed it last meeting.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and you took a voice vote last meeting, right?
Yeah, we,
On this? Okay,
Yes.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Right.
came from the public safety.
Okay, good.
I thought we had just discussed the police officer. Okay, then we have, then that's it for my report.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have 10C, Public Safety Committee. Any member of Public Safety want to
Mayor?
speak about that one? Yes, Councilman Masnella.
Yes, we did not meet in July. We meet every other month and in between as needed. What Deputy Mayor Kramer was reviewing before was on our agenda last month. The main other item that Councilman Regan reported on, and we were going to actually, I believe, I don't know if we vote on it, Lou, or we just have acknowledged that we're taking the chief's recommendation after review of his summary concerning the police county consolidation consideration that was studied for a year plus. But that was one of the main items. There's some other items that we're still working on having to do with public safety issues that will probably come forward to council in August, perhaps with some recommendations. But the only thing still pending somewhat was council's acknowledgement of the, and acceptance of the chief's recommendation on that long-awaited for study. Do we need to? I don't believe we need to actually take any action unless any council people had any.
Well, there's a council discussion item on that, so
Yeah,
we
you're
Right,
talking
it's
about
on the
take
council
action then.
discussion items.
Yeah, so we can get there at 12D, we can, we know,
Okay.
that's good, the Public
Yeah.
Safety Committee
My-
discussed it, then we pulled it off because it's,
My paper,
Side.
my hard copy has that on the following page. I didn't see
Okay,
it at
sure.
the bottom. But that would be the main thing, and we have,
Okay.
like you just stated, discussion item then. Council should have received the document, or it's available tonight of the chief's summary. But otherwise, we'll be meeting in August, Mayor, and be able to bring any new initiatives to the table in early September relative to public safety.
okay, and that does it for public safety, right? Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay. Next is 10D, Land Use, Open Space, Parks, and Recreation. Anyone want to take that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Wright? All right.
Instead of, in addition to the regular members of our Land Use Committee, which are the four of us here, our Louis Raynon, our Township Attorney, the Deputy Chief of Police, Richard Grammer, was also in attendance, because one of the issues that we brought up was the breakwater ATC. And the reason why they were on our agenda was that we wanted to learn more from them as to what they wanted to do, where they wanted to be located, and how they would actually function. And I'll read you just one piece that, just so you know where we are. And Councilman Regan was there because we were doing a rotation of all the council members to be in the room to hear from Breakwater. Councilman Kramer left the room so that Councilman Regan could be in. The Breakwater representatives indicated that they understood the operation would not be exempt from local property taxation. The representatives were one of two companies that were licensed by the state to operate in the Central Jersey region. Breakwater passed out materials to us that we could use, and all those members that didn't get the materials, they would be forwarded to you, but I think everyone did get the materials?
I haven't.
You haven't?
No.
Okay. We'll make sure those materials are given to you. At the conclusion of the Breakwater discussion, Councilman Regan left and Councilman Kramer arrived. The East Millstone preliminary assessment report from Birdsall Engineering. The committee had some questions for the appropriate staff and or consultant, and what those questions were the additional environmental studies that, if any, needed to be performed on that area so that we would know about the playground equipment, gazebo, and things that we wanted to be placed there. Also, based on some documentation of groundwater contamination at an off-site, whereas the Anka Millstone facility, we also wanted to know if there was any further investigation that needed to be done there. With respect to the Anka Franklin Insight, the committee requested that the township attorney provide an opinion as to the legal considerations and or restrictions of subdividing the contaminated property. That's where we left it, and we'll pick that up and kick it to our township attorney. I don't know if you received that yet?
Well, actually, I got the request for the memo, and I've also got portions of the environmental report, so we actually we have been analyzing it over the last week. We had a conference call with Mark Healy today, and hopefully sometime in the next couple of days, I'll be able to pick up all of the environmental reports, and then we'll lay out for council what their options are, pros and cons.
Thank you. Next item that we had was Bradley Street. It's an unimproved portion of Bradley Street in East Millstone. Never complained that there were some trees that were knocked down. We discussed it, and we made a recommendation that the Township DWP Department inspect the area and clear the area of trees and or limbs that might be falling down on the property in that area. One item that came up was the sidewalks on Berry Street. And this is very important because it involves our school system. The committee discussed the need to provide sidewalks along the west side of Berry Street between Voorhees Avenue and Baker Street so that the students in the area, the redevelopment area, including the Berry Street Commons area, would not need to walk in the street. Per township engineer, the preliminary cost was $43,000. The committee recommended in favor of constructing the sidewalk for safety reasons and recommended funding options be explored. And the reason why I bring this up, and I brought it to the committee, I live in that area. And driving home one day, I almost hit 3 kids walking in the middle of the street. And I didn't understand why the kids were walking in the middle of the street. So I sat on the side, in my car, sat on the side of the street and watched everybody walking, coming to and fro, and realized there were no sidewalks. So we have kids living in an area where there are no sidewalks, and the way traffic flows in that area with the new apartments and everything, it just behooves us to take care of our young people and provide sidewalks. Also, with the busing situation with the schools, certain areas of Franklin Township do not have sidewalks, and that's the reason why we do have some busing going on in Franklin Township. So one of the recommendations that came from the committee was to confer with the school board with the respects of constructing sidewalks in strategic locations to help reduce the busing costs. Now, I sent a memo, and I think the 4 of us received it, to Mr. Cito to ask him to find out what streets in Franklin Township do we need to put sidewalks on to cut down in busing. Now, you would think that it's one pot or the other, my pocket or the school pocket. It's the same pocket. So whether we pay for it or the school board pays for it, it's still coming out of my pocket, which is your pocket also. So that's something that we need to be mindful of. The next issue we had was the Higgins House, which is an amendment to an agreement. And at the end, you'll notice that I'm going to look at Councilman Chase because he was supposed to do something as far as reaching out to the organization to find out just what they wanted. That process hasn't worked out just yet. They haven't got back to Councilman Chase, and there's some things that we need to do. So I'll just, go ahead.
No. I found out what they wanted to do. However, staff recommended that I wait for Township Council to prepare the exact amendment to the, really it's the facade easement agreement with the owners of the building, and then I'll present that to the Kingston Village Advisory Committee. And I'd point out that the owners of the building want to make use of an annex to the building, which they previously have not made use of. And in return for that, they would construct a sidewalk in front of their property, which would be the part of something I'd very much like to see, a continuous sidewalk from the center of the village of Kingston to the shopping center, which is, beyond the Higgins House, north of Raymond Road on Route 27. People do walk there, and obviously they would be safer if we had continuous sidewalk, and it would be cheaper if we can get the property owner to construct a part of that. The other land on either side is largely owned by the state, which is always about to transfer it to Green Acres, but never quite does, so it'll be more complicated getting a sidewalk there, but I hope we'll be able to do that in the not too far distant future. But this is what I'll present to the Kingston Village Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Councilman Chase. The next item we had was Middlebush Park. The Land Use Committee recommended that there be a special council meeting on Tuesday, July the 24th, to discuss Middlebush Park. The specific objective of the meeting would be for the council to make final determination on the build-out of the park. Later on in the meeting, I think it's agenda item 12C, we will be voting on that special meeting for later on in July to discuss Middlebush Park. So I won't bring up anything as far as that's concerned. The last thing that we have is park maintenance. The committee requested that DWP evaluate the recommendations of the Preservation and Recreation Needs Assessment and Action Plan with respects to the use of Open Space Trust Fund for ongoing maintenance of township parks, including verification of manpower needs and budget assertions. The committee requested that the matter be discussed at this special council meeting on July 24th. Mr. Mayor, that would conclude our report.
Thank you, sir. And so next we have item 10E, Public Works Committee. Their report from Public Works Committee. Councilman
Yeah, we
Shea.
haven't had a Public Works Committee meeting since the last council meeting at which I reported. We do have on our agenda the bond ordinance to provide the money to repave a lot of streets in the township. And we had essentially we have a list, we had a preliminary list of streets, and the committee selected the streets that most needed it. Other streets that were on that list will be, and probably some more, will be done next year. But if we pass the bond ordinance, I guess we introduce the bond ordinance tonight and pass it in August, then engineering will be able to prepare the bid specifications and go out for bids. And at least some of those streets should get repaved this fall and the rest of them next spring, possibly all of them this fall. But this is really sort of a reiteration of what I reported in our last meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that concludes item 10, our standing committee report. We now come to item number 11, council comments. So I guess, okay, we'll start over here. Councilman Rajiv Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
A couple of things to report on. The Human Relations Commission has appointed two junior commissioners, Rachel Werner and Jared Durgasingh, and their their meeting is going to be televised very soon, so that's in the works. So you will be able to see how the Human Relations Commission works. Just some thoughts on economic development, and that is something that I would like our manager and acting manager to take up. There is Amazon that is in play looking for a home in New Jersey. We should try and get hold of somebody at Amazon that's in charge of real estate and see if we can find them a home in Franklin. That will mean a lot of jobs in Franklin.
Right.
But the one thing that we have been very successful with is data centers. And let's look at how we've been successful with attracting data centers, which are big ratables, to Franklin, and see if we can come up with a program to come up with more of the data center type of people in Franklin. So if we can ask the manager and assistant manager to help with that, that would be a big help. Week of the People, Mr. Sanders already mentioned it, but there are things that are happening that I want to, number one, we want to try and waive. I love the Taste of Franklin. It's a great event. I would love to have everybody come, and whatever we have to do to waive fees, especially if there are restaurants from Franklin that are providing the food and promoting their restaurants, we should be part of it, and so let's get that waived for them. And the Interfaith Committee is also holding one night on the 8th of August, a session on bridging the generation gap through interfaith dialogue. And so that is one thing that I invite everybody to come and attend for the interfaith. And the final event on August 11th would be a great event, so we should all be there for that. The Health Department report, we had the meeting last time, and that report is going to, we did request statistics, and those reports are available now and will be discussed at the admin committee meeting on Thursday, so we haven't forgotten about it, and we will keep that on the front burner. And Councilman Deputy Mayor Kramer has also been very helpful with that in analyzing the data and making it more actionable. So beyond that, the insurance presentation, they made a recommendation to implement some kind of a wellness program, and Councilwoman Sherman has also wanted to see that implemented, and we'll be discussing that at the admin committee. It's part of our agenda, so that would be something that we would be discussing. And beyond that, those were my notes. Of course, as far as the fireworks and the Guru Purnima and Jain Center, I was also there, and the mayor and deputy mayor have said enough about it, so I just say ditto to their comments. And finally, I want to thank our manager, Mr. Novick, for great work and getting this township back and functional again. Thank you for all your efforts and hard work, and you will always be a friend of Franklin, so we look forward to having you back here often. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Councilman Ted Chase.
Mainly, I think I should also thank our manager and for his fine service. He's leaving us too soon. He's always been very responsive when called on about anything at any level. I hope the Mets won't give him any problems in spring training. Perhaps if there's a hurricane, it'll blow him back here to help with coordinate emergency services. I know how hard he worked continuously during Hurricane Irene, and that's going to be a tough act to follow for another manager. One thing there's been some talk of, but it hasn't happened yet. We're hoping to have a meeting with council and manager and engineer in South Brunswick about whether it's feasible to tap into the water main on the South Brunswick side of 27 below 518 because of the ongoing problems with the water main on our side, which won't take good pressure and breaks annually, but would be very expensive to replace in full. So whether it's the manager or the acting manager, I hope we can have such a meeting in the very near future. I think that's about, I'm trying to think, I don't think I have anything else. Well, our Negri Napodi grassland has become really a very important bird watching site for central New Jersey. There are a lot of postings about birds seen there, and it just gets better and better. I was there this morning and enjoyed it, and any morning you go there, there's likely to be 2 or 3 sets of people come from some distance away to see what they can see there. So we've really got an attraction in Franklin Township there.
Thank you. Councilman Carl Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a recap of the 4th of July fireworks. As one of the chairman of the committee, we had a balance that we brought forward of $6,400. So our total money raised was $37,893.88. You can applaud now, everybody. Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Encore.
Our expenses were low. The highest expense that we had, as usual, was for our fireworks, and the expenses totaled $19,314.80. Now, we need to thank the police department, the fire department for volunteering and also giving a check toward this enterprise, because without them, it would have been a tough sell here in town. Our reserves are $18,579. That's our balance that we're going to carry forward to next year. And we're not going to sleep thinking that we're paid for next year. We're going to go out and start raising money as soon as possible. As soon as our chairman gets back on board, Mr. Grippo, we're going back out to raise the money so that next year we will carry forward a bigger cushion for that year, somewhere in the far, far, far away year when things aren't as good and we don't bring in a lot of money. But I want to thank everyone for the donations. More importantly, I want to thank everyone for coming out for the 4th of July, because without you, the township residents, and everyone else, it wouldn't have been a 4th of July. Also to our departing township manager, when I hit the Florida city and we started hanging out, and, just look for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rosalind Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the subject of the 4th of July, just wanted to thank those entertainers that came out and entertained at no charge to the township. Being the chair of the Cultural Arts Committee, it was our Performing Arts Committee's responsibility to find people, and I'd like to personally thank Reunited and the Villagers for doing such a great job in keeping the crowd happy and providing such wonderful entertainment, and especially Reunited, who did 2 sets since one of our other acts was not able to make it. So they did a wonderful job. A lot of people were out there tapping their toes and really getting into their music. So thank you very much. I also would like to just touch on the event for 2013. There was a meeting today between Bill Grippo, Bob Vornmacher, and myself, and the structure will be Mr. Grippo will handle, he will be the head of the whole program as he was this year. Also in charge of fundraising as he was. I, as the chair of the Cultural Arts Committee, will take care of the entertainment. We'll also try to get crafters. And now we're expanding the program, hopefully as funds continue to come in. And we're going to have an old-fashioned Franklin 4th of July again. We're going to have a kids zone. Hopefully, if the money keeps coming in, we'll have rides. We'll have those blow-up games, I'm not sure what to call them, where the kids can jump, but we'll have crafts for the kids, so that we have lots and lots of good things planned for next year. So you'll hear more about it. The date for next year's event is going to be July 3rd. So a lot closer to the 4th of July than we were this year, and the rain date will be July 5th. So mark it on your calendar, and let's hope the weather cooperates. No rain and no heat wave, please. We went through that already. I, too, have attended the Jane Center events. There is a 10-day program of events in which at which time they consecrate their temple and their statues of their gods. And I was very privileged to attend two of them. There's two events, and there's a third one coming up on Sunday, at which many of our council members will also attend. And I, too, am very happy to see them here. It's been a long road for them. They worked very hard to raise the money and build a beautiful facility for their worshipers, and we welcome them to our diverse community. One of the things I did forget to mention when it came to the administrative committee, I did want to mention that we are looking at a redesign for our website. I'm not sure whether I mentioned this before, but I think we're going to really do some special stuff with our website. We're asking our IT department to look into it, make it easier, more user-friendly, hopefully, and I know it will be more attractive, and we'll have a lot of links to other organizations in the township, including the Cultural Arts Committee and several others. So I'm very excited about it, and I know they'll come up with a fantastic design, something that we will obviously share with the council for their input, but I think we're on the road to the 21st century. Last thing I just wanted to mention, one other thing. The Cultural Arts Committee has a doo-wop concert on July 29th. So don't think we're going to have a council meeting before then, so please mark your calendars. That's on Route 27 in the shopping center where Confectionately Yours is, as well as Steinmart. It's for free. It should be a fun event, so please come out and enjoy the folks that are performing. There has been a meeting between the representative from the school's energy program, the folks from our own engineering department, and myself to talk about ways we can share ideas and programs to become even more energy efficient than we are already, and implement some of the programs that actually the school has done some great stuff, and we're willing to learn from anybody who will teach us. So I'll keep you posted on what's going on there. And last but not least, I too would like to thank our township manager. It's not easy dealing with 9 strong personalities, and he's done it quite well. Each one of us he calls boss, so he doesn't offend any of us, and each one of us is a boss, so it ain't easy. So thank you for all of that. Thank you for your management skills. I think you've done some wonderful things getting the township aligned and working even better. And good luck to you in your new position.
Okay, thank you. Councilman James Fasanella.
Okay, a handful of things real quickly. Somewhat relevant to Franklin, but more relevant just overall in these warm months. Please, if you are out anywhere on water, canoe, kayak, motorboat, anything, catamaran, please wear a life vest, a life jacket. There has been, I don't know the statistics, but an unprecedented amount of people drowning in our waterways, and unfortunate incidences over the 4th of July weekend, some of you may be aware of, and many others that are just popping up, way too many. So please, whether you're in Franklin or all these other wonderful places people vacation in the region, please, if you see someone not wearing one, tell them to wear one. I believe most cases it's the law. As far as ELS committee, we have the presentation, which will be coming up at a next item after council comments. I'll introduce the president, who's here to give that presentation, update the council. The Hamilton Board, thank you for the members. I see about a half a dozen members here tonight, including our executive director and our president, to hopefully watch the passage of our budget so they can continue their work. One note to point out that, as simple as it may sound, we finally got our signs built. I believe they're ready to literally be put in the ground, and it's good. It identifies an area which, although most of us involved know is there for a revitalization effort. It's good the public will know from all four corners, all four entry points that they come, Franklin Boulevard or Hamilton, when they enter our district. Hopefully, we'll see these beautiful signs designating it. So a lot of things like that have come full circle, and hopefully that budget will pass tonight so they can continue that work. Moving right along, the Cable Committee, Councilman Chase and myself are now going to work, as discussed the last meeting, with the Cable Committee to try and have them be as useful of a component of the upcoming negotiation, but the long period that we go about deciding the terms of our next cable contract, franchise contract, because it's a very long, involved contract. So they'll be meeting, I believe it's the 23rd, I just got notice of today in July, to move forward with that in whatever way they can help. That's most of the committees I'm involved with. I did want to mention, is that the last one? Yeah, well, moving along to our manager here, ex-police chief, who's over there chatting away, I say. Real quickly, I know it was 7 years ago, actually, next week, that I got on council. And I remember when we did the tour of the, 7 years goes by quick, the tour of the grounds, the manager takes us on. At that time, it was Manager Daley. So we have a better understanding of the real structure and functionality of the town, the logistics. Well, I remember when we were going through the police station, Chief Novick, as I was introduced to him, I had known him somewhat, a little bit, from involvement in Franklin, but never officially met him as a chief. So anyway, quickly, he was very good as a tour guide, and I say that because it's not the easiest thing to have somebody who's never seen the inside of your building understand how it functions, how it operates. And he was formal and specific and structured. But just to give you a glimpse of why I believe he works so well as a police chief and a manager, and then a police chief again, hopefully, as he goes to his new job, is within a split second, I know he opened the cabinet in his office. I thought he was going to show me all the big guns they have, but he pulled out a little toy truck police car, Franklin, to give to my son, who at the time was barely, not even a year old, but just the personality that can shift, and as much as is very strict and formal and structured, just as importantly and just as equally is a person with emotions and understandings, because if you can't connect on a personal level on some degree, you're never going to connect on a management or a business level. So those are talents which he probably doesn't understand are there as much as they are, or maybe he does, but I was thankful for that. And although Mr. Daley had done wonderful things in his tenure for this town and a lot of wonderful accomplishments, when he did leave, there were things we needed to change, to improve, to upgrade, to reevaluate. And although it was only a year, more or less, that year is probably, will go down in Franklin's history as an extremely important year, because the transition that we've accomplished, which probably could not have been accomplished with any other person in that position, although I'd wish he stayed, it was a very functional transitional year, and hopefully the progress that Franklin's made and we've made as a council will be able to easily transition with the help of our assistant manager and special projects coordinator to whoever it is that steps into that position next. So anyway, just sorry to go on, but that's my remembering of my first working with you, and what I think your talent will have you in demand from a lot of towns around, cities around the country. So thank you and good luck.
You really got it down.
Okay, thank you. Well, take a quick step back to Councilman Carl Wright.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, when we were discussing the 4th of July,
Yes, sir.
I forgot to put a motion out in front of the council for next year's chairman of the 4th of July committee. So unless there's an objection somewhere around, I would like to put out a motion that our former councilman and former mayor, Bill Grippo, again, be the chairman of the 4th of July.
Did you want to make the composition of the committee?
I'm sorry?
Did you want to suggest the composition of the committee? Last year was...
Same as last year, yeah.
Basically the same committee.
Same as last year.
See if...
Is that okay?
Something we can...
I'm sorry?
Councilman Vasanella?
Yeah, no, I'm sure that will work out well, and I'm glad that you're getting an early start, but is that something that we can just maybe mull over as a council and
I mean,
see if there's any...
what's the mull over if you're saying it's a good idea, then to go down the road and to, I mean, I want to start now. I mean, so if there's not a problem or anything.
I second Mr. Wright's motion.
Okay, I'm going, other discussion? Okay, I'm just going to weigh in quickly. I have no problem, I think it's good, I'm just, if any other council person wanted to be involved, I just don't want them to feel out of the process, that's all. So if anyone else wants to, I guess they should inform us. We could take on another or rotate out, one of us.
Do we need to take a vote? Or
I
is it-
guess we're forming an ad hoc committee, so we should. Okay. Okay. Any other discussion on that? If not, all in favor of the committee, as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, motion is carried.
Good.
Councilman Wright, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. So, as in all of our committees, you know, any council person can certainly give his or her opinions to the committee and thoughts such as that. Okay, so now we come to Councilman Brian Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I would just like to talk briefly about the July 4th celebration. Again, it was a very wonderful celebration for the town. It came off very well. The fireworks were excellent, I think. All those that attended truly enjoyed the evening. Again, I know it's been done before, but I do want to extend my thanks to our event coordinator, Bill Grippo, who did a wonderful job in pulling together and raising funds for it. It was difficult at the end. He did a great job. Overall, he did a great job. In the end, though, there was a lot of effort to make that happen, and a lot of the residents really didn't see what went behind the scenes to make that happen. I was very disappointed in the response that we got from one of our businesses here in town, the Stagehouse, where they responded that they were not donating funds to the fact that they were unhappy about the fact that the Board of Ed did not want to accept their funds for creating a chess club, which required them to teach chess during teaching hours. So I was disappointed that they chose to make that statement and that decision, given the fact, first of all, the Township and the Board of Ed are totally separate entities. One has nothing to do with the other. We do not have any influence over what the Board of Ed does, and as pretty much anyone who
Yes.
knows and who lives
He has no right to say
Go
in
ahead.
town knows that, you know, we are two separate entities. So I was very disappointed in their decision to do that, especially given the fact that they had a ringside seat. They had a packed house that night, and I'm sure it was packed because of all the residents who were coming to watch the 4th of fireworks. So again, I do express my disappointment in their decision, and given the fact that they actually responded in a letter stating pretty much what I just said, that's why I have responded publicly about their decision. Again, my disappointment there. However, I do not want that to defect from the overall success of the night and the wonderful fundraising that Bill Grippo did, Mr. Grippo did, to help raise the funds that night to ensure that the township, that we had the fireworks without expense to our taxpayers. So again, overall, it was just a wonderful night. I do want to give my best wishes to our township manager, who is leaving us to go back to do something that is at the center of his heart of who he is, a chief. He's going to go back and do that in Florida, so my best wishes to him. Truly, anyone who follows their heart in what they want to do is a person that is happy in life. So you cannot, as much as we will miss Mr. Novak, I am very happy for him in that he is able to follow his heart and do what is part of him, ultimately part of who he is. So my best wishes to you, Craig. Tonight, we have on the agenda, on the consent agenda, 18A, B, and C, which is authorizing the resale of gasoline to the fire districts, to a number of fire districts that are listed here. This really is an outcome. I'm very happy about this one because this is something that I've been personally involved in since Hurricane Irene. We had, for those who recall, we had that come and visit us last August. There were some blips in the road that occurred during the hurricane, and one of them was dealing with our fire districts in allowing them to get gas that night or during that event. This will ensure that if we have this type of critical event in the township, it will run more smoothly than it did the last time. And what that really ultimately means is that we in Franklin, when these events occur, we review what happened and we constantly look at improving on how we react in these events. And this is one of those improvements that needed to be made. So I am very happy that this is on our session tonight and will be done. We do have one or two other items from Hurricane Irene that we have to improve upon, and those are still in the work. But I am happy to see that this resolution is on tonight and is being worked through. And with that, I want to thank the mayor, and I will pass on to you, or return back to you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
Is it me or you?
Not me.
It's me, okay. I know you're probably tired of hearing all the council comments, so I just have one last comment to make, and that is just to thank our township manager, once again, for 30 years of outstanding leadership and dedication to the enrichment of Franklin Township. You are going to be very missed, and I just want you to know how much I appreciate you. Wishing you very, very much success in your future. And I want you to know that I want, may God bless you and keep you. And I'm going to miss you, and make sure you keep in touch. Let us know how you're doing. Thank you. Thanks again. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Phil Kramer.
Thank you. Very quick. On this iPad, actually, I just got a news flash. A hurricane just went through Port St. Lucie. They no longer need a police force because it's been wiped out. So, actually, I've already spoken enough. My one comment to the manager and to Mr. Grippo, if you could pass this on. There were a number of comments that the fireworks weren't as good as last year. They weren't as, and so if someone could speak to the company. And see what they can do about jazzing it up.
I'll work on that one.
Very good.
There you go. I'll work on it.
Okay, thank you. And I think I've said what I would have to say also, so no further comments from me. And if I did have them, they probably wouldn't be interesting anyway. So we'll go on to our next item. That's number 12, council discussion items, the first of which is East Millstone First Aid Squad status report. Mr. President Hepper, please come, Paul Hepper, and Councilman Vasanelli, you wanted to say something?
Well, I was just going to introduce him and welcome him.
Oh, go right ahead.
And he's going to give an update. And the idea, I think, is back in, hopefully in a few months, you'll give us more information. You'll probably come back with some more concrete details.
That's correct.
And thank you for coming.
Welcome. Actually, thank you for having me. So Mayor Levine and Deputy Mayor Kramer, councilmen, councilwomen, and Councilman Vasanella. I am as you said, Paul Hepper. I am the president of East Millstone First Aid Squad, and I thank you guys for having us here tonight. I am here tonight to give you a presentation on our pursuit of a new squad building. So let's see if we can get this to work. Here you go. Right. So, as you know, last year our squad building was flooded as a part of Hurricane Irene. It was amounted to $50,000 worth of damage, but that was not all. This is the third time in 12 years that our building has been flooded. Moreover, we have other problems with the building, long-standing structural issues, very little space, so as you know, the squad has been needing to move for some time. So, this is what we're here to talk about tonight, the pursuit of the new building. I have basically broken into three different aspects. That is land acquisition, the building design, and then the financing of it. So, land acquisition. Okay, the current status is this. The county, Somerset County, has tentatively agreed to provide us with the open space land, which is currently adjacent to the Millstone Valley Fire Department. That is a great boon to us. In fact, it's a big blessing because it is central to our area that we cover. It's on a major road. There's enough space to expand into, and in fact, it is near our current building, as you see there on the map, so that it would pretty much fit into our current response patterns. So, thankfully, the county has the county authorities have repeatedly expressed willingness to help and the confidence that this acquisition of this land should go smoothly. So the next steps in this are two. Number one is the squad has to inform the county how much land is needed, and the land swap agreement has to be formalized and submitted to the state authorities for approval. The big part of that then, of course, is identifying how much land is needed. To determine that, we really need a building design. So that's the second part. Our current status in the building design, this is the area where we have done most of our homework for the last month and more, is we've been collecting a lot of information from various design and construction firms that specialize in EMS buildings. Importantly, we have also created a list of requirements that the building would have to have if it's going to serve our purposes. And then we've also created, using all that information, a tentative floor plan that serves those basic needs. So here's an example. This is just a very tentative floor plan, entirely an example, but it does have some of the fundamentals that we want in there. For instance, as you see, it has 3 ambulance bays that are wide enough now, finally, to handle our new, larger ambulances. It has a meeting room that is separate from the garage, so we don't have to choke ourselves out with diesel fumes whenever we have a training or anything like that, an exercise. It has, as you may be able to read the smaller print up there, a bunk room, sufficient storage, and even enough toilets, which is all, a good thing. So the idea, though, overall, is to create something that is both functional and fiscally responsible, something that we can pay for ourselves. And this is something that would fit the bill. So our next steps, then, in designing a building are a couple. First off, we're going to be visiting other squads to see their buildings, particularly squads that have built new buildings recently, and obtain information on the prices they've paid, the size, and the features, and so on. We're going to be, this is a key one, we're going to be investigating ways to make the building fit in with neighboring structures. If we're able to occupy that space right there next to Millstone Valley Fire Department, that is in the East Millstone historic area, as many of you are probably aware. So, and we want to make sure that it fits in well with that. So one possibility is to make it look similar to what would be our new neighbor, that's the Millstone Valley Fire Department itself. And that might work well. Very importantly then, we would like to show our rough floor plan our general designs to some of these construction firms so we can clarify what we do need and, most importantly, begin to establish prices. And that, of course, brings us to the last part here, financing. Our current status on that is, well, 5 years ago, during the last time the building flooded, the squad established a yearly building fund drive. We knew that we really needed to move, so this is a drive that is beyond our regular funding. We do this on a separate part of the year from our regular fund drive. And thankfully, the good people of Franklin have been generous enough so that we've been able to accumulate a reasonable down payment on what would be, say, a traditional 30-year mortgage. So that's a good start. Beyond that, we have approached a number of banks about a mortgage, and in fact, one has already responded with tentative mortgage terms. They, of course, need to know specifics of a building that we have yet to design before they can offer us a precise mortgage, but it's a good start. And then, of course, the squad is actively pursuing government grants from FEMA, from the AFG, et cetera, and we are working with the town's own grant writer. So that's what we've done so far for financing. Our next steps, we're going to be getting those initial cost estimates from the building firms. We have found out about a fundraising specialist, somebody who is a professional in this area and who has a track record of already raising some $1 million in certain other instances. We are very much looking forward to being able to meet with them, see what they can tell us. And of course, we're going to investigate all of our other options, more bank mortgages, federal loans and grants, and then certain special resources that are available to us as a nonprofit organization. Even as Deputy Mayor Kramer had mentioned here to us at our last squad meeting, the possibility of having a scrap drive, which is something that we indeed are looking into. All right, so that's it. That was our three major areas, just as a quick summary. The land acquisition is going very well. That's probably the best thing altogether out of the three major areas. A year ago, we would not have been able to hope that we would be able to acquire that land over there, and yet right now it seems to be, out of the three different aspects here, the one that is furthest along. The building design is off to a good start. We've already collected information from the various design firms. We've created a list of our own requirements, and we've designed that basic initial floor plan that we would be able to start with. And then the financing also has a good beginning. We have the sizable building fund already in hand, tentative mortgage offer from one bank already, and then this upcoming meeting with the fundraising specialist. So we're looking forward very much to all that. So there you are. In the end, we would like to come back in a couple of months, if you would be willing to have us, and present what we've learned by that point. Thank you. Welcome.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Are we done with that item? Sorry.
Oh, do you
Have any questions?
do you have a question here?
Sorry.
Just anything on this? Councilman Chase?
I believe the state has a Blue Acres program like Green Acres to buy out property that's subject to flooding. Have you contacted them, looked into having their buy your existing property and essentially add it to the DNR Canal State Park?
Blue Acres is something that has definitely been kicked around. We are very aware of it. In fact, I would have to hand off to some of my colleagues back here who are even more knowledgeable about it. But the short answer is yes. We're looking into it, and if you want more detail, I can hand you off over here to Marilyn Campo. Would you like more detail?
Does the council want more detail?
Well, if there's something specific to report, otherwise it can be done at the next follow-up. I'll leave that up to the person with the information. I'm sorry, just, even if it's a quick statement, just identify who you are, please.
That
Mayor,
goes
if that's okay.
in hand with what Paul had said about the grant writer, the Franklin grant writer. She's actually just starting with that now. She had helped us with the AFG grant, which just got finished up. and now that's under hazard mitigation, which she is aware of, and she said she will help us formalize that process and go through that. There's a deadline on that of September. For next year, I think she said like a March award on that. But that does come under hazard and mitigation, and she is aware of it, and she's going to help us with it.
Good.
Okay, very good. And that was Marilyn Campo, former captain of our squad and major force in our squad. Were there other questions? Very
Just-
good.
Oh, Councilman.
No, I just wanted to comment, thank you so much. I can see you guys are getting really focused. Only been 10 months. Well, it might seem like a long time, but I know how much you guys have gone through in 10 months, and it sounds like in a few months you may have a very concrete plan, which will be about a one-year time period, and we look forward to seeing you again in a few months. It is one of the ongoing items on the council agenda from its retreat that we're hope can get some conclusion by the end of the year. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Councilman Vasanella. And indeed, it is it's 10 months now, but of course, as you can see from that, after 3 feet of water in the building, it took us about the first 4 months just to be able to put the building back together. So.
And I just add, I don't know, but I don't think you guys missed a beat. And remember, this is all volunteers, and not only this squad of men and women dealing with this issue with their houses literally need to be replaced, but they're out there also literally saving lives 24/7. So keep at it and commend your services.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all the council. In fact, it's nice that you're interested in us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Hepper, thanks much.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I'd like to
Councilwoman
make a
Francois.
recommendation or a motion to move up agenda item number 12D, since we have our police chief here to talk about regionalized policing report memo, given the fact that it's almost close to 10 o'clock.
Okay, so the motion is to move item 12D to now, right?
Yes.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, moved and seconded to amend the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Okay, so we're going to go to item 12D, which is regionalized police report memo. And so we have with us our police chief, Larry Roberts, and as a quick background, the Somerset County freeholders, in conjunction with the county prosecutor, Mr. Soriano, had done a study to see about the possibility of having a regionalized police department, basically a county police department for Somerset County. And let's see, I was on one of those task forces. I think Lieutenant Vornlocker was on one of those also. And Chief Roberts, you wanted to give us your perspective on this, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I said, I sent the memo out. I try to give you the nuts and bolts in 4 pages as opposed to having to read the whole manual like I'd explain to public safety. It was online. I do commend the prosecutor and other people involved for taking the initiative to do this study. But at the end of the day, as I said in my memo, I really don't feel, I feel strongly actually that it's not a good fit for Franklin. They even say on page 35 that when you regionalize everything, you lose your tailor-made police force. And I take great pride in leading this agency that the men and women that go out there every day are professional and really want to serve the citizens of this town. And when they get in the car and they go out there and they interact with the citizens of this town, they know how to interact with the citizens of this town. The professionalism, the treatment that the citizens deserve are given to them. And that's why, knock on wood, we don't have any problems. We have a very diverse town. Not that officers from the other part of the county aren't good, but we go through very strict training here in Franklin. Our officers understand the diversity in this town. They know how to treat the people. They know how to deal with each area. And I feel that if we go to, that's just one small piece, but it's a major piece. If we go to a regionalized policing, are we going to lose that? Everybody saw the number. We went exactly by their numbers, $30 a household. Okay? When, I don't know, they didn't say in here how they would do the hiring. When we hire, big thing, we value diversity. When we promote, we value diversity. When we put a product out there, I know the officers that put on the uniform are going to be professional at all times. They know what's expected of them. You as a council expect a lot. And you know that as a police department, we always raise that bar. when it comes to, as I broke down in here, the programs we do. The officers love interacting with people in this community. And if we go to a regionalized police department, are we going to lose all these programs? Whether it's the kids for basketball on Week of the People, whether it's interacting at project graduation, whether it's the seniors, do we really want to give up all these programs? And I'm sure you've read the articles in the paper, every other town saying the same thing. You lose your tailor-made police force. Now we'll go on to crime. Everybody knows we have a crime suppression unit. Everybody knows Darren, okay? They go out there, if a council person calls and they get from their constituents, or we see as a department that there's burglaries in the area, we could deploy this unit to just deal with that problem. And they go and deal with it. Well, if we go to this, we're not going to have that unit. Everybody knows all the arrests they make and all the good they do, and I just feel we can't give up all these services to our citizens for what, their number's $30, and if you read this, that doesn't include the fleet maintenance. Now, on a lighter note, I know I come and ask you for cars every year, and everybody cringes at me. Well, you know what the cost of the cars are. So that's going to eat the $30 up right there. Then we go into, I feel that even though everything goes through the township manager, a governing body should have some say in the direction of their department, or maybe even like, you folks don't interfere, but I know what your expectations are. You want the department up here, not status quo. You want them ahead of the game. Well, you're not going to have any say. Yeah, they say, okay, you can have a little input, but the chief's going to be sitting in Somerville. So if there's a problem, or God forbid an emergency or a hurricane, who's going to be the person to go to? There'll be a deputy chief here, but he doesn't have the ultimate authority. He'll report to the chief in Somerville. So I just feel like you need a chain of command. And I feel that a governing body should have some say in the direction, or even not direction, what they expect out of their police department. And we would be giving that all up. So as an overall package, I do commend them for looking at the study. We always have to look at ways to save. But at the end of the day, as the police chief in this town, there is no way I could support this.
Okay,
And I think the citizens deserve the police department they have now. Yes, Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
excuse me, I'm sorry.
Chief, thank you. No, yeah. Councilwoman Sherman, please.
Thanks. Didn't realize it was off. Thank you very much, Chief. It certainly doesn't seem like there's any good reason to do it.
No.
I do want to know, though, are there any communities who are doing it, or, what is?
As of now,
why is-
nobody has said yes to it,
Nobody
ma'am.
has said yes.
No,
so-
and the feedback I got, and when we met at our Chiefs Association, was from talking to the other chiefs, everybody's saying the same thing. Everybody enjoys having their hometown PD. They know the officers in town. I guess each department, as it was broken down in the report, has different programs, and they like the programs. And, the amount of money, I think, that was originally projected isn't there. And why does anybody want to give up basically home rule and give up their police department for really, what's the savings? So nobody has said yes to it, ma'am.
And when is the final?
August 1st.
August 1st,
Yes.
so it's fast.
4 towns have already said no, flat out.
Okay, and we have not actually said that yet.
No, that's what I'm asking, for
that's-
tonight, because I cannot support this report, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
One thing that
Chief
is
Novak?
seen, there are a lot of constituent issues that go to council. And one thing that's important for council to remember, that when your constituents go to you with concerns, you have an immediate communication to the police chief here. And the officers that respond, they're accountable to the chief and council. You risk giving that up. And in a community like ours, it's very important that you're receptive to your constituents and our citizens. So that's important to think about, too.
Okay, and Councilman Vasanella?
No, just.
Oh, pardon me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Councilman
I
Prasad?
would just move to accept the chief's recommendation.
I'd like to second that.
Well, just for what it's worth, the committee came to the Public Safety Committee, and I believe it was a unanimous decision of the 4 members of Public Safety Committee, including myself, Councilman Regan, Councilwoman Sherman, and Mayor Levine. So it's not important who made the motion, just let you know that we did go through it, and we asked a lot of questions, and the chief gave us a lot of information. And correct me if I'm wrong, committee members, but it is the unanimous decision to recommend at this point that council agree with the chief's recommendation and tell the county we politely decline the offer. So, and you made the motion, I just let you know.
Okay, other
Committee's work.
discussion on this?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Regan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I want to first thank our chief for putting this memo together at our Public Safety Committee meeting. I did ask him to document his concerns. And why I thought that was important is that as the largest town in Somerset County, clearly there will be a lot of focus on what we're doing as a town. And the chief took that time to document it based upon the report. So we're not just saying no for the sake of no. We're saying no because here's our concerns. And it ultimately comes down to, though there are a number of concerns about what's been used as the term home rule, it's more about the actual, what I like, the term that's been used in the report is understanding the tailor fit of our police department. And that really is very critical because it's really not about home rule. Home rule is used in many terms within the state as an excuse for towns not to do certain things. But this is about our police force knowing personally the culture and the makeup of our town, and our ability as a governing body to have conversation with our police chief about that. And there are many times when that is critical in our ability to understand what's happening in town. And though we as a governing body cannot tell the chief what to do, like to send a squad car out here or do that, he clearly has that authority, and that's not an authority of the governing body. But we can have the conversation when we have concerns. And the fact that we have the ability to bring our chief in tonight as he's sitting here so graciously answering our questions and being available to us, it is not clear we would have that type of response from a deputy chief that's appointed by some other governing body. So that's where, I support the chief in his concerns documented here. First, because there are politicians out there who have really said that, this is kind of like, duh, go ahead and do this, police consolidation. And when you look at the data, and then you turn the data into information, and you have to look at it and analyze, it just isn't there. And unfortunately, it's not, because the county expended a lot of dollars to have this report done, and the way that it was broke down was, in my mind, disappointing, because there was probably a way that they could have looked at presenting this to various municipalities to make it more enticing for us to enter into this type of agreement. But what was put before us as a governing body just makes it very, very difficult to say we would like, at least in my opinion, to engage further in this conversation and negotiation. So again, my thanks to the police chief, Chief Roberts, for his analysis of the report and for his continuing commitment to our town, and really commitment to the public safety of our town and understanding the culture and the nature and the makeup of our town. Because though we're one town, we have many communities. And I'm sure there are folks in Kingston that would say that there's a part of Kingston that's different than Somerset, as in East Millstone, and for each of our areas. And that's the beauty of our town. We are one town, but we have a number of communities that make it up, and it's because of our relationship with our police department, and specifically now with our chief, that allows us to really have a good relationship, I believe, and one that if we have to make changes, or if we have to make or provide guidance, we can do that and know that advice or those suggestions are going to be listened to and really taken to heart to see if there are changes that are needed. And with the program or the proposal that was put in front of us by the Somerset County committee that worked on this, I just personally don't see that there. So that's why I am in support of the chief's recommendation to not enter into this and to return a vote of no, or a vote of no to the prosecutor on moving forward on this. Now, having said that, if they take input from the towns and they hear the input that's going back to them, if they want to revise and refine the proposal they have, we'll certainly listen to it. But the offer that's on the table is not one that I can stand behind. And as mentioned before, the Public Safety Committee, the members of the Public Safety Committee cannot stand behind also, and hence I am in full support of Chief Roberts. So again, my thanks to you and to your staff, and to also other members who were part of that. I know Mr. Von Locker was part of that committee, Joe Danielson, and the mayor was part of that committee. So my thanks to all of you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Gee, thank you. Anyone else want to discuss?
I call the question.
Councilman Basnelli?
I mean, I was just going to add
I'll just weigh in and I'll come
one thing that wasn't mentioned, because our Councilman Regan covered quite a bit, but also, ironically, we have East Millstone here tonight. We have a pretty wide network of emergency responders in this town, whether it's fire, OEM, rescue squads. You guys have long-term relationships with them, and I know you and Deputy Chief Grammer both been here for so long. Those type of things are not replaceable. And I want to add that it's not just in the recent months or year and a half that the study's been going on, but I mentioned it earlier, I've been on Public Safety Committee 7 years. We wouldn't necessarily, as a Public Safety Committee, be guaranteed, I know because either you or one of your top people are there at our meetings every month, so there's a lot of, I won't keep going on, but there's a lot of benefits to not switching. We have to remain open-minded and see what comes in the pipeline, but not switching at this point that weren't even mentioned, and they go on and on. So I'm ready to call the question as requested by Councilman Prasad, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I'm just going to give my input, then
sorry.
we'll get to that. No, that's fine. And the bottom line is, I agree with you, Chief, where it's not something we should go into at this point. That when I went into it, I actively had an open mind because I wanted to feel it out, and I'm less concerned with control. I don't need home rule, but I do need results. And the bottom line, my fear is I'm not going to get the results, which is public safety, which is number one, if we go along these lines. And I'm usually a dollars and cents kind of person, my background, and we would, I mean, if we look at these numbers, as a town, it could be cutting us $500,000. So then that could be eroded with other things. But that's the one thing I grappled with too. But then I come back to public safety is number one, and the specific programs we offer, the seniors, the children, the Blue Angel, the Taylor Fit, the crime suppression units. Our public relations, the responsiveness, and when there's trouble in any neighborhood, the chief can choose to send extra people, send extra officers, send extra cars in that area. And that is actually, I've seen that happen time and time again with you and your predecessor. And well, that's all.
That's like, if I could, like I said, Mr. Mayor, I don't want to hold up, but,
No, go ahead.
you know, the one thing, if anybody in the governing body, you know, a constituent calls them or they have a problem, you know, as soon as it goes to the manager, it goes to me, we're going to deal with it. There's never going to be any red tape. It's just going to get dealt with. And then we're going to, not only that, we're going to follow up about what the outcome was. So I think it goes full circle that it's full service, and like Councilman Regan said, it is tailor fit, and you know that that level of service will always be there from the men and women of this department.
Right. I know we are unique in the county in everything from our demographics to our size, to urban, to rural, to open space. And our size also for a county department. Actually, basically one out of every 5 people who lives in Somerset County lives in Franklin Township. We've got our diversity training, we've got everything else that puts that together. So that's again, I wanted to keep an open mind for a long time. And I think this could be a good launching point. There might be other towns in the county who can regionalize, or maybe other areas where towns can come together. So I commend the freeholders and the prosecutor for working on this, putting in the time, money to do this. And I do think there will be good results coming from it, and I appreciate the time that you did. And again, try to keep my mind as open as long as I can, but then I'm following your conclusion.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Yeah, I just think we could have, if we wanted to, we could cut fewer services than this cuts and save just as much money. So I fine for them to do the study, but I do have to fault them for coming to their conclusion after doing this study. I think they were married to an answer, and they fell into a common fault of working on something and then being married to it. So I echo the thoughts of most of the people. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll go back now to Councilman Prasad. You're calling the question. Okay, there's no objection. We'll go to a vote. I guess it's just a voice vote.
Yes.
Fine, right?
Let's vote.
Okay, so all in favor of sending, thank you, accepting our chief's recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion is carried. Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you. Just so the governing body knows, I will take care of it from here. I will contact the Somerset County prosecutor and talk to him.
Okay.
Thank you.
Both
Very
following
good protocol.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Nice job.
Okay. So, again, appreciate the time. We now come back to item 12B, Bundle Countywide Energy Projects, Somerset County Energy Commission. Councilwoman Sherman?
Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I apologize, it slipped past me. This should have been stricken from the agenda. The people from the commission are not going to be here this evening, and the issue, which is working with throughout the county, bundling energy preservation programs, is moving forward. They thought there might be a roadblock, and that's why they were coming here, but that has been removed. The program appears that it's going to take place, and we'll hear more about it, and I'll be happy to bring you the information, but they are not coming here this evening, so I apologize for that.
Okay, fine, thank you. So we come to item 12C, special meeting, Middlebush Park improvements, which was alluded to earlier, July 24th, Land Use Committee. Land Use Committee, have anything else on that one?
Who's going to talk about this?
Well, the idea was that we're going to have to make a decision very soon as council, actually in August, and we only have one meeting in August, as to what we're going to do with Middlebush Park. Recently, we voted $4.5 million roughly for Middlebush Park, but we didn't really say exactly what we were going to do. There was kind of an et cetera in the ordinance. So this is to define et cetera, and the Land Use Committee thought it deserved an entire meeting, so because there are some controversies about it, and that we would allow, it's been a very open process so far, we will allow the public to come up, speak their mind, and then council will make a decision on what we want to do. Since July only has one council meeting, we could put that meeting on the same date that would have been the other council meeting, which would be the 24th of July, and make it be a special council meeting. So it would be an open meeting, everyone would be invited to speak.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Thank you. I would like to ask that letters of notification be sent to anyone within 200 feet. I think that's the normal distance of the Middlebush Park development program. I think it's only fair that they be notified and come here and express their opinions with regard to the program. So I would appreciate if that can be done.
Okay. Pardon me. Oh, was there anything over here? Okay. I don't think we scheduled a meeting. Did we, a special meeting?
I think
No,
we're about
that's
to do it.
that's the proposal, I guess, and then
I'd
we
like to
decide
make
now.
a motion.
So, okay, I'm all for the meeting, I just had a question about it, shall we,
Councilman
before the
Vasanella?
vote? Two things. The meeting would be what would normally be the second council meeting, which is usually a good time to have it, right? It's a Tuesday. Now, whatever comes out of that meeting, is the intention to be then voting a couple weeks later, in the beginning of August, or will we have, let's just say, ample time to go through process and revisit things and be voting on things in the fall relative to the more specific appropriations you referred to as the et cetera before?
Well, the deadline is that we
Deputy
need
Mayor
to
Kramer?
decide by, thank you, by August, but I propose we vote on it at that meeting.
Well, one moment, Councilman Chase, just in reference to that, I'm all for having a meeting, but I don't think, since that may be the first time a lot of us are seeing some numbers and facts and figures getting input, I'm assuming people will be coming to give their opinions. I'd like to see the meeting happen, but not to have formal action taken that night as far as large appropriations go. I mean, I guess it's all subjective what's large and what's small appropriation. And then the other thing I wanted to ask clarification on was, it was mentioned earlier, and I see it down in here as a Middle Bush Park meeting. I heard it mentioned earlier about trying to get a better handle. I know there's been discussion on it relevant to ongoing maintenance and hopefully some of these minor improvements will be happening in the slew of smaller pocket parks around the town. I'd like to deal with that as soon as possible. Is it practical we deal with it that night? And then the same question about will we be taking action on that? I'd like to see action quickly, but not necessarily taking the end of July in case any council or public, it is the middle of the summer. So anyway, just my thoughts on that, but I do support the idea of having a meeting.
Councilman Chase?
The point is that the township engineer has strongly suggested that we make a decision at the very least by the August meeting as to exactly what the money that we have already approved in May is to be spent on. There is to be the second synthetic turf field, but it has not been decided what other items are associated with that. Will there be bleachers? Will there be lights? Will there be lights for one field or two fields? What else is to be included? And he needs to know this as soon as possible in order to prepare bid specifications. If we make these decisions at the very latest at the August meeting and preferably at the July meeting, then he can begin, he can draw up the specifications that have to go out for contractors to bid on it. If this is not done by the August meeting at the very latest, we lose any chance of construction of the second field, beginning the construction of the second field this fall, and essentially it will not be ready for next use in next fall soccer season. So there really is a reason to push ahead on this. There are other items of the overall plan that have been kicking around. I mean, the Recreation Department, the Rec Council have had a plan for Middle Bush Park for probably 2 years now, But the whole council has never passed on this. The public has not had a chance to speak its piece on this. And I would like to have a meeting at which the whole council, and not just the land use committee, passes on this. There are some details to the plan that I think could be changed to make it more palatable to the residents of Charles Street, but there may be reasons why we can't do this. I think we need to have, I would like to have us make a decision on those items now, even though we won't be going ahead to spend money on them in the future. And really, I've heard a lot of criticism for how long the council has taken in acting on Middle Bush Park. Lately, we have moved ahead by fits and starts, but I don't want to have any more delay now just because one councilman orates on the need to back off and consider some more.
Well, Mayor, just respond, Councilman Chase, I appreciate your
Bassell,
details, you filled us in. I thought it was a given, quite honestly, that we're committed to building that second field, but I agree, if there's things we want to get going on this year, yeah, those are the type items I would support making a decision on. Again, I thought it was agreed upon by council already that we would be putting in a second field. It was just going to, the first one be built first and the second one second, but I'm all for taking action on those items. I thought we were going to come here and decide, that's why I wanted some clarity, and thank you, Councilman Chase. I thought the idea was come here and decide on everything and anything that might ever go in Middle Bush Park, but thank you for clarifying the details.
Okay, Councilman Prasad?
Yes, and the maintenance of the parks would be another item on the agenda for discussion that we have asked, the Land Use Committee has asked the Public Works people to come with estimates for that, and also present the alternatives so that we can make the decision at that meeting on the July 24th. But it is high time we move forward and stop procrastinating on decisions that have to be made. And one way or the other, we have to have an up or down vote on July 24th. So my motion is that we have the meeting on July 24th. Anybody wants to second it?
Second.
Okay, I call the question.
Okay, well, okay, but some of us have to say our part. Again, Councilman Wright, did you want to speak?
Everything
It looked like
Councilman
you'd ask.
Chase said, everything Councilman Prasad said, that's it.
Okay. Did you want to speak? Okay. I just need a clarification, and indulge me because I'm not on the Public Works, sorry, on the Recreation Committee. On the 24th, you delineated some things. The concept is to, give me a few bullets, discuss what and make a decision on what.
The overall plan for Middle Bush Park was laid out in the money that we spent for the recreation needs assessment that we all sat in on, we all commented on, and we all have in our homes, in our cars, or somewhere where we can all get at it. We have been going down the road talking about things for Middle Bush Park. So it comes to the, excuse me.
I'm just asking specific.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
but, and I'm getting down to it because as a gentleman just raised up in the audience, he has his recreation needs assessment. Mr. Bill Connell, he has it and he just raised it up in the air. Now, what Councilman Prasad and Councilman Chase said in a nutshell is, let's stop kicking this thing down the road for no other purpose than to have something to talk about. We're going to have we would like to have a special meeting to let the engineering department, to let the people that we want to bid on the projects that we will have. Excuse me, I'm still talking.
I know, but I asked the question.
No, excuse me, I'm still talking.
Okay, no, hold up.
No. You recognize me to speak, and I'm speaking. Now, if you want to interrupt and do something different, do it on your quarter, but don't do it on mine.
No, don't speak to me that way.
Well, don't treat me that way. What are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about?
I'm going to let
you recognize me to speak, and I'm speaking.
Okay, now I'm telling you you're out of order. I'm going to speak.
Then what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I can't speak?
You can be able to speak.
But wait a minute, you just said...
basically, let me finish and then you can go. I basically yielded time to you to answer a specific question. If you want to continue down your road, that is fine. I'm just clarifying to you, in case it wasn't clear, I was looking for specifics. Now continue what you're going to say. And let's not go through those kind of emotions up here
Listen,
for no
Mr.
reason.
Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
Listen, Mr. Mayor, and I want to get this perfectly clear. And I'm not going to go down that road with you again, because I'm just not going to do it. Now, listen. The motion that was made on the floor, Councilman Prasad just laid out before us, was to vote to have the second meeting and also to consider the things for the Middle Bush Park program and to make a decision at that meeting, period. I second that motion. I call for the vote.
Okay, and here's Councilman Chase. Go ahead.
I'd just like to try to answer your specific questions, although I thought I had already described it. Specifically, we need to decide what additional items associated with the two synthetic turf fields are to be specified in the call for bids to construct the second turf field. Specifically, will there be bleachers? Will there be lights? What sort of lights? Beyond that, there are items of the general layout of Middle Bush Park. I think we've all seen the general layout. I would like, for instance, to suggest that the small soccer fields be run east-west because that will, rather than north-south, because that will not cut into the buffering of Charles Street as much. There may be a question of moving the baseball field a little closer to the parking lot, possibly by picking up the skateboard structure and moving it, again, to get it a little farther away from the residents of Charles Street. These are matters of general layout that we wouldn't be going into budgeting or bidding yet, but there are the specific items that I mentioned that in our resolution in May were essentially in the et cetera. I don't think the lights were even mentioned then, but the public will want to speak on this subject, and that's why we need to have a special meeting on the topic.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, good. And that's what I was looking for, these items we're doing. Councilwoman Francois?
So can we just take a vote on those that want to vote yes for the meeting? We'll have the meeting and all these things can be fleshed out. And so we don't have to keep going back and forth.
Okay, no, understand also, there's some of us, you live it when you're on that committee, and that's fine, as you should. You do the work for all of us. And then when it's coming through, I found out there's a special meeting. I want to know it's going. That's going to do it. I think we should make the decisions, but I respect council people who want to know what's happening also. It's likely I won't be at that meeting because of other plans, but that's obviously fine. That's scheduled. So before that meeting, that's why I especially want to know what might be happening. And if there was anything else that was going to happen, I would have weighed in or sent a memo beforehand or sent anyone to do that. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm just trying to find out what's happening.
Okay.
And I don't think we should be berating each other childishly
Thank you.
for just trying to find out what's happening in a major thing in town.
So let's
I
vote
think
now.
that
We're ready to
comment-
vote.
I think that comment goes in more than one direction. And a long time ago, Mr. Prasad called the question. He was recognized as calling the question, so point of order, you should be asking for a second on that, and we can just vote. So it's
Okay, when Councilman Prasad said he called the question, I asked him if he could hold that, because those of us who want to weigh in, and he was gracious enough to say that he would. And look, I make it a practice to let everyone speak, and I don't jump in at every point, so I just expect the courtesy back to me. If I wait to speak, because I let everyone have a turn first, that should be extended my way, and I Appreciate Councilman Prasad and others for doing that. Okay, so now, if there's nothing else, I'll consider the question called. So for a special meeting on July 24th for the 7 PM,
Right,
what's the location?
right here.
In the council chambers, okay. All in favor of that, as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Okay. So now we come to
My goodness.
item number 13. Item number 13, approval of the minutes. So we have the work session regular meeting minutes of May 22nd, 2012. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on approval of the minutes.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
That's okay.
Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay, that was 9, 8?
9.
You'll do that.
I got it.
Okay. Okay, next we have the warrants. Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that the manager turn off the video projector. That bulb lasts 350 hours, and it costs $350, so we're burning $1 an hour. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so next we have item number 14 on the agenda, the warrants. The warrants are the bills that we pay, so warrants in the amount of $1,286,150.18 on July 10th, 2012 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Is there a motion to pay the warrants as read?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please poll the council on payment of the warrants.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois? Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have our fiscal year 2013 Hamilton Street Special Improvement District budget and assessment roll as advertised. So on this one, we're going to move to open the meeting for a public hearing, but it's only going to pertain to this particular resolution, which is the Hamilton Street budget. So is there a motion to open the meeting for a public hearing on the fiscal year 2013 Hamilton Street Special Improvement District budget and assessment roll as advertised?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Meeting is open for a public hearing on the fiscal year 2013 Hamilton Street Special Improvement District budget and assessment roll as advertised. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand. If
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one coming forward from the public, I suggest the public session be closed.
Seconded.
moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Public hearing is closed for this particular budget. And the resolution, thank you very much. So now we have the actual resolution, which is item number 12-318. Adopt the fiscal year 2013 Hamilton Street Special Improvement District budget. It's presented to the Township Council for adoption. Is there a motion for this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on item 15C, Resolution 12-318, which is adoption of the fiscal year 2013 Hamilton Street Special Improvement District budget.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois? Deputy Mayor Kramer? Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Thank you, members, executive director. I recognize the good work you keep doing, and it seems truthfully very much improved in the last year with your heart and work, so appreciate that very personally. So now we have public hearing and adoption of ordinances on second readings, of which there are not any. So go to ordinances on introduction and first reading. Usually before an ordinance goes into law, it is voted on twice. There's usually a vote, then usually about a month later, there's a second vote, and if it passes that second time, it goes into law. So at that second vote, there's a public hearing and people can speak on it. There are none of those this meeting. That was item 16. So number 17, ordinances on introduction and first reading, of which there are two. First is ordinance number 3982-12, a bond ordinance providing for the 2012 road resurfacing program in and by the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, known as the Township, appropriating $2,700,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,570,000 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing, and, final adoption on Tuesday, August 14th, 2012, at 7 o'clock p.m. here at the Municipal Complex. Is there, is there a motion for this ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please poll the council on item 17A, ordinance 3982-12, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer? Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan? Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have item 17B, that's the second and last of our ordinance introductions, ordinance number 3983-12, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, Somerset County, New Jersey, more particularly, Chapter 236, Municipal Services. This an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, I'll do this again, Somerset County, New Jersey, more particularly, Chapter 236, Municipal Services.
That's what they're doing?
The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing, and final adoption on Tuesday, August 14th, 2012, 7 o'clock p.m. here at the Municipal Complex. Ms. Reno, this is adjusting how we take over streetlights in various communities, is that correct?
That's correct, Mayor. It is, it's really a more specific definition as to when it is exactly the township assumes its obligation to share the costs for street lighting and other services.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, is there a motion for this ordinance?
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on item 17B, ordinance 3983-12, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer? Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have our consent agenda, items 18A through 18AK. And the consent agenda are items which are generally of a routine nature that can be voted on in one vote. It's any council person's prerogative to pull something off for a separate vote. So, we have the consent agenda, items A through AK, is listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting. They're presented to the Township Council for adoption. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Items?
Second.
Mr. Mayor,
Move in second. Councilman Chase, please.
I asked I'm trying to think of the right word. I'm asking the council for something somewhat extraordinary, which is to add an item to the consent agenda at this time, which you will find essentially in an email from me on your iPads. I was looking at my email. There was an email 6:31 this evening from John Clyde, who's our representative to the Raritan Millstone Flood Control Commission, and I was aware that they are proposing to essentially put in a grant proposal to Sustainable Jersey, which would fund a study of zoning ordinances and master plans of towns in the Millstone Valley to see if there's anything that can be done to reduce flooding. The deadline for this is July 15th. Hillsborough is putting in the grant proposal. We are asked for a letter of support to Sustainable Jersey in support of this proposal. So even the Word document that's at the bottom of the email I just sent to you is really written for sending in the grant, but I'm sure our clerk can either take a letter of support that we've previously written or change wording in the therefores to say that this township supports the application of Hillsborough Township to Sustainable Jersey for this grant. I'm sorry this did not get to you before now. I've not had anything except conversations with Mr. Clyde about it up until now, and I just got this email. But I would like to add to the consent agenda that we write a letter of support for this application.
I second that.
Seconded.
Okay, moved and seconded. So, do you want to do that on this one as opposed to separately make that AL?
It can be voted on separately, but it's just, it has to be done tonight if it's to be done at all.
Okay, so we're consistent. If we make that number 19 resolution separate, is that okay, Councilman Chase?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll.
For the local governing body.
Okay, anything else on the consent agenda? Okay.
Is that this?
Madam Clerk, please poll the council on the consent agenda. First, we'll do A through AK, and then we'll come back to the resolution of Councilman Chase.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan?
I abstain.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Now we'll come to Councilman Chase, make the motion as you stated. We'll, at this point, there's a second on that?
Seconded.
Okay, moved and seconded. So, Madam Clerk, please, any discussion? Okay, please poll the council on the resolution, that's number 19 now, which, as delineated by Councilman Chase, please.
Mr. Mayor?
I'm sorry, pardon me, Deputy Mayor Kramer, please.
So I just learned that our township attorney did not receive the email, so I was thinking maybe we give him a moment to read through this to make sure it doesn't say Phil Kramer owes $10,000 to Hillsborough or something.
Okay, so how about if we go, I'll ask for any old business, Councilman Chase, while the attorney looks at that, is that okay? We'll come back?
Fine.
Yeah.
It's fine, Mayor.
Oh, he's quick, all right. All right, so anything else on this resolution? Okay, moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please pull the council on the resolution as delineated by Councilman Chase, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman
I thank the
Friend-
council very much for acting this quickly.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan?
Having had a chance now to read it, pulling it out of my delete bucket, I'll vote yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have old business as listed on our agenda items of board and commission appointments, update on Millstone First Aid and Rescue Squad building, of which we saw earlier. Anything on any of these items? If not, we will, we have a resolution for executive session, and as we had in the beginning, executive session is when we meet privately, the council does, and there's only certain times when we can do that, such as personnel matters, litigation, attorney-client privilege. So we now have resolution for executive session. So is there a motion to adopt the resolution calling for executive session for the items listed in the resolution as follows: attorney-client privilege, street lighting reimbursements, litigation, Kings Row, and personnel, township clerk evaluation? Is there a motion for?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on the resolution for executive session.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Mayor Levine.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Councilman Regan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella. Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Okay. Motion is carried. We're now going to go into executive session. Oh, Deputy Mayor
Mr.
Kramer.
Mayor.
I would just like
And then Councilman Regan.
I would just like to take 1 second to thank our IT staff for staying here till the wee hours, making sure that we were able to use our iPads correctly. Unlike a PC, it doesn't crash every 10 minutes. We'll have to add that feature.
And in particular, for
Okay.
getting Councilman Wright's iPad muted.
Councilman Regan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also just want to make note of our new software package, the agenda package software. It makes it a lot easier dealing with this online, but even just the regular printing of it just is a lot easier to have page numbers of the packet. And I understand from our clerk that this has also made her job a lot easier dealing with the integration of resolutions and the items that appear on it. So again, our thanks to the IT department for coordinating and pulling that together.
Okay, yes, thank you. So after our executive session, we will only have 2 items of business after that. Number 1, we will vote to come out of executive session, and then after that, the second vote will be to adjourn the meeting. So since there's no more business to be carried out except for those items, we'll stop filming at this time. Have a good summer.